This is The Bottom Line. The Bottom Line on 938 Live.
Now, Singapore-listed Croesus Retail Trust is positive on the retail scene in Japan. This despite a possible sales tax hike next year to 10%. Now, the business trust has 6 malls in Japan and has plans to acquire more. It recently reported better than forecast returns for shareholders of 8.98 cents per share for the year. Travis Teo spoke to Jeremy Young, Managing Director of Croesus Merchants International, the sponsor of the trust.
We increased our Tokyo exposure from 2/3 of our assets to now 75% of our assets are now Tokyo exposed. We continue to evaluate acquisitions in the Tokyo/Greater Tokyo region as well as the key cities like Osaka, Kyoto, Nagoya, and so on. So that's where we are hunting for acquisitions.
Right. Why is there a focus on Tokyo, and do you have a target in mind? You said 75% now. In the future, perhaps 1 year later,
we firmly believe, primarily because of the fundamentals of Japan. You know, the Olympics are coming up in the year 2020, and we see real estate prices going up quite significantly. And we've also observed in such an environment, typically real estate in the key cities are the ones that have the biggest capital gain upside. As to a target, there's no specific number per se, but we do want to be sort of Tokyo/Greater Tokyo dominant.
But going forward as well, there are the talks about the sales tax hike, which Prime Minister Abe has talked about. In fact, when the tax was hiked in April this year, it hit consumption and sent the economy into its worst fall in the second quarter of this year since the earthquake and tsunami. So how confident are you in the overall spending, given that you have a lot of retail assets in Japan?
Very confident on 2 fronts. We think that the fall-off in the national retail sales is just a temporary blip. I think Singapore went through a situation like this when we introduced GST. The immediate months following that, retail sales would naturally come down. So it's just a bit volatile these few months. But on a broader level, we do believe that Japan as a consuming nation will get back on track quite quickly. The second point is it did not materially affect our shopping malls and value for our shareholders, primarily because 85% of our leases are fixed rent leases. So only 15% of our leases are subject to retail results. But overall, our top line, we missed the forecast of the top line by 0.9%.
And was that because of the tax hike?
That is absolutely because of the tax.
Right, and going forward for the next financial year, do you see any sort of impact on your top line in terms of sales?
We don't think so. We don't think that temporary blip will materially impact our top line. We do believe that our top line will get back on track quite quickly, especially because we are going through a tenant replacement and rent reversion exercise in one of our largest malls. And we do anticipate being able to raise rents.
Last question here. Going forward next year, would it be a similar kind of expectations in terms of distribution per unit?
Well, street analysts actually think that we will be much better. The forecasts for financial year 2014, 7.41 cents a share. If you read the research reports, they're all projecting about 8 cents to 8.1 cents a share. So that's approximately a 9% increase on the forecast. Now, the primary reason for this increase is our accretive acquisitions that we made earlier this year. So next year, we will see the full impact of the accretion and therefore an expected rise in the forecast.
And that was Jeremy Young, Managing Director of Croesus Merchants International, the sponsor of Croesus Retail Trust.